AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That theme music means it's time for a weekly confab with Ted Dabrowski from Wirepoints, wirepoints.org. All things Illinois policy related. Keeping up with the taxes on your house. How about keeping up with the taxes for your Bears? The Bears pitch for a new dome stadium, projected to be $4.7 billion. Actually, though,
what are the real digits, Dan?
when you end up including the cost to retire the existing debt used to renovate Soldier Field and Guaranteed Rate Field, still paying off that, it's more like $5.9 billion. But again, $1.2 billion for the Bears and the White Sox. I mean, can you really put a price on making the Bears and White Sox's dreams come true? I can't. And I'm sure that the political class in Springfield won't either. I still don't understand what the Bears are really doing, if this is a leverage play to extract more from Arlington Heights, because it makes zero economic sense for them to try to build this dome on the lakefront.
And to rent when they can own. Like, why would they want to have to deal with the Chicago Park District again and the city of Chicago?
I know these are
such a headache.
These are exciting times for both of those franchises, though, with the Bears getting Caleb Williams and the White Sox already at 6 wins this year.
Oh, my goodness. This is so exciting.
They're in a hot streak after taking down the Rays, so it's going well.
But Kevin Warren said at that press conference, he said that he met with Jerry Reinsdorf the Sunday before, and he promoted, wouldn't it be great if we could build 2 new stadiums at the same time in Chicago? Think of the thousands of jobs we will create.
That will be persuasive to the Democrat Socialists in Springfield, I guarantee it. All the jobs for me, and that I can distribute, and the VIP treatment that I'm sure I will enjoy, and so on and so forth. It's a done deal. If that's what the Bears really want, you can bet your state government will be happy to use your dollars to underwrite it. That will happen. And I know but Jelly Belly said there's probably higher priorities. Oh yeah, the performative skepticism, so that over the course of the next couple months, we sat down at the negotiating table and we hammered out a deal, and I raked them over the coals to make sure this is the best deal possible for taxpayers and for the Bears and for the lakefront and so on and so forth. And it all came together so beautifully. That's what happens when you work together for the people, as Democrat socialists do. I can write the press release now.
Yeah, and they'll say it's more about the Bears. This is about bringing NCAA basketball championships to Chicago, the Super Bowl to Chicago, concerts. It goes on and on.
Entertainment mecca, no question.
Yeah.
By the way, in addition to Caleb Williams, there was a local that the Bears drafted in the 3rd round, offensive lineman named Kieran Amagaje.
Was he from Hinsdale?
Hinsdale.
He's so cute. He was so happy. He had his godson or nephew with him, and that little kid would not let go of him. It was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
When he got announced. That's the girly talk in me.
Yeah, and he went to Yale.
Yes, he did.
Uh-huh. Oh, and he also may be our new Colin Kaepernick.
Uh-oh, no.
Some tweets from Kieran Amagaje. Want to force childbirth on women and infringe on their right to choose just for those same kids to die in schools? What's pro-life about that?
Ooh. Cringe.
That's a Yale grad. Real
Grew
smart.
up in Hinsdale.
Deep. Yeah, Hinsdale Central. So tear gas and rubber bullets only reserved for BLM. Where was this energy this summer when we when we was protesting our dead brothers and sisters. They're just protesting because they team lost. That was his January 6, 2021 tweet. Yeah. Because he's down with a struggle from Hinsdale Central.
And then went to Yale.
Kieran Amadejay, a Hinsdale native, grew up a Bears fan and met Matt Eberflus last year at the golf club his father belongs to. He said he told Eberflus he would one day be sitting in his office as a Bears draft pick. Eberflus reminded him of that interaction when the team called Amadejay to inform him that he was being drafted tonight. Wonderful story. The oppressed kid from Hinsdale who met Eberflus at his dad's country club. But he's all
suffering,
down,
man.
He's down with his BLM brothers and sisters.
He knows what it's like to suffer.
Future mayor of the city of Chicago, Kieran Amadejay. You heard it here first. All right, for more on the Bears Stadium finances, taxpayer financing. Ted, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy.
So, if you had us at 4.7, I mean, surely we can go to 5.9 for the Bears and the White Sox.
Yeah, what's a couple $1 billion among friends? And
exactly.
I think these stadiums have become arms. It's like an arms race, right? Everybody wants to have the bigger, better stadium than that was built somewhere else. And so, not only did these things become monstrosities, but we have previous bills to pay for. And when you start adding it all up, as some other analysts have done, suddenly that 4.5 billion comes closer to 6 billion, and those are monstrous numbers. And you've had some guys on talk about the economics of these stadiums, but the economics don't work anymore. Maybe they did in the past, but they certainly don't work anymore.
That's certainly what Kansas City taxpayers decided, didn't they? After the Chiefs won yet another Super Bowl, and time for a new stadium. No, we like you, but we don't like you that much.
Exactly, and so that was one rejection. And then I think what people need to know is that there are private stadiums out there that are funded privately, and that's happened in Los Angeles for both the Rams and the Clippers out there. So those are private financings. So that is possible. And we have to remember that these guys have deep pockets, these owners, and they make a lot of money. So there's no reason to put the public at risk, and two, Chicago just doesn't have the numbers right now. Even if you wanted to say, hey, it's all going to be paid by tourists who come in and stay at hotels, there's a lot of risk on those numbers right now, especially with the crime going on and the lack of population growth. So
what's funny is I'm old enough to remember, not so long ago, there was a lot of loose talk about a second professional football team coming to Chicago.
Mayor Lightfoot was here.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to build, why don't we get another team and build another stadium so we get it all done at once? I mean, we could go to 10, 12 billion, right? I mean, what's the difference?
LA's got the Rams and the Chargers.
Taxpayers don't know the difference. They don't care.
Well, and why don't we just own the teams, right? Why doesn't the public own the teams?
Yeah, like the Packers.
Let's make all that money ourselves.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's a real windfall. All right. Well, it's just interesting on the economics of it all. And how this will play out politically, depending on what the Bears' real angle is.
Well, the Bears want to start construction now. They want it. They don't want to wait for the fall veto session. They demand action as soon as possible.
Okay.
Are they going to get it, Ted?
Sorry?
Oh, I said, they want action done now. Like, they don't want to wait till the fall veto session to.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Dan's assessment was perfect. I think that's exactly what happens. Pritzker has to do all that, and eventually they'll negotiate something and make it sound good. And Dan's right. You could write the press release right now because you know how it's going to play out. It always does that around here. I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical. I think there's big concerns about if you build up a whole bunch of stuff around a Bear stadium, it's just going to take business away from somebody else, and people are going to spend their money at the football games, but they'll spend less money somewhere else, and so you don't get the economic growth that they say you're going to get, and it just becomes more debt and more burden on the public.
We mentioned in our conversation with John Lott yesterday this new study that you did over at Wirepoints about violent crime in Chicago. Since we're continually told that it's going down, it's always going down while it's going up. So why don't you give us the details on that again?
Well, yeah, the big news is that murders are down, and that's true. They are down about 10%. So, but that's not that big of a number. They're still a lot higher. They're probably 10% higher than in 2019. So we're still worse off than before COVID and before George Floyd. But the reality is, and this is surprising because I thought that maybe we hit 5-year highs on violent crime last year. So I thought we'd get a little bit of a reprieve, just exhaustion by the city of all the crime. But no, the robberies continue to go up. We're about 2% over last year. But last year was 23% over the previous year. So we're still growing in robberies. And I think, that's got people scared. And aggravated batteries are a problem as well. And, I've been thinking about this stuff a lot. And, this is traumatizing stuff, right? These robberies, these aggravated, that means somebody's got a gun, somebody's hurting you physically. They're going up, and that's what's scaring people. And it's happening in Lakeview and in Lincoln Park and all over the city. And that's what's driving this fear, and you can't blame people for it because it's happening in daylight. The 68-year-old grandmother on a Sunday morning stroll, they come, these bad guys come and take her and throw her to the ground, beat her and take her stuff. If a grandmother can't walk around on a Sunday morning, in a decent neighborhood, watch out.
Yeah, but don't show it to anybody because then people get
right.
upset. They don't want to see it. They want to avert their eyes as much as possible, even as they recognize what's happening, because unfortunately, so many people have been victimized. You know somebody who's been hurt at minimum.
Yeah, and Dan, I thought of you when I was watching some of those videos because one of the women screams a lot, so it reminded me of the scream that you caught some hell for.
Yeah.
But we also ran the numbers, just on robberies because that's become the big thing, and we compared it to New York City and Los Angeles, and we have doubled the rate of robberies than those cities, on a per capita basis. So it's a big thing, and I think what it tells you is that we're not doing anything about crime. And as a matter of fact, I was going through the CWB page, and thank God they do what they do. But you go there and you just see criminal after criminal committing crimes while being out, on parole or gotten out for recent gun charges. It's happening over and over and over again. And, that Safety Act, I guess once we ever figure out what the hell's going on with the numbers, is going to prove to be something pretty nasty.
And what do you think it says? I mean, Officer Luis Huesca was laid to rest yesterday, and the family did not want Mayor Johnson or Governor Pritzker to attend.
Yeah, I heard you guys opening on that, and spot on that. I think, and I was writing a piece yesterday, and my last line is about that because, you can say whatever you want about Brandon Johnson and what's happening in Chicago, but if you can invoke an image in your head of a slain police officer in Chicago where the mayor is not there, where the mayor is uninvited, disinvited, whatever you want to call it, that image right there should tell you how far we've come in terms of dysfunction and chaos in Chicago. You think of a slain police officer, you think of a mayor being right there, and when he or she is kicked out, there's nothing more to be said. I think the picture, if you can picture it yourself, that's the image that tells you how bad we've become and how low we've come. And there's a lot of repairs to be made if we want to make the city great again.
Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Don't miss the podcasts that matter. Now on the Salem Podcast Network. Dinesh D'Souza.
This is a game in which the conclusion comes first, and then you look for data, and then if the data is, quote, disappointing, you start fiddling with the data. You can often claim that the data says something that it doesn't really say. Why? Because the ordinary person never checks.
Seth Holhouse.
We have these agencies, FBI, CIA, Defense Department. Maybe 20 years ago, I would have thought, maybe they picked up on something, they got some intel, and they're trying to help us. But I no longer believe that very much at all.
And Jenna Ellis.
We need to be better prepared to understand what it is that the left is doing with their arguments so that we can be better prepared.